It's Thursday, April 9th in Holy Week. We are reading from John 13, 1 through 17 today. Our devotion today is entitled Maundy Thursday. John 13, 1 through 17. It was just before the Passover feast. Jesus knew that the time had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were here in the world, he now showed them the full extent of his love. The evening meal was being served, and the devil had already prompted Judas Iscariot, son of Simon, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, and drying them with a towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus replied, "You do not realize now what I'm doing, but later you will understand." "No," said Peter, "you shall never wash my feet." Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me." "Then Lord," Simon Peter replied, "not just my feet, but my hands and my feet, my hands and my head as well." Jesus answered, "A person who has a bath needs only to wash his feet. His whole body is clean. And you are clean, though not every one of you." For he knew who was going to betray him, and that was why he said not everyone was clean. When he had finished washing their feet, he put on his clothes and returned to his place. "Do you understand what I have done for you?" he asked them. "You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. I tell you the truth, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you'll be blessed if you do them." And then we're going to read verse 31 and through 35. When he was gone, Jesus said, "Now is the Son of Man glorified, and God is glorified in him. If God is glorified in him, God will glorify the Son in himself and will glorify him at once. My children, I will be with you only a little longer. You will look for me, and just as I told the Jews, so I tell you now, where I'm going, you cannot come. A new command I give you, love one another as I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, all men will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another." This devotional is entitled Maundy Thursday. Verse 35 said, "Everyone will know that you are my disciples if you have love for one another." Every night after dinner, I clean up. Many evenings I have helped, but the last crumbs, the final wiping down, the leftovers to store in the fridge usually fall to me. Most nights I don't mind. The quiet of the kitchen, previously noisy with clanging pots and talkative people, calms me. As I've watched morsels of our meal swirl down the drain, I feel a sense of redemption, as if these bits of food contain the hurts of the day that I can now send away, things I can forgive and be forgiven for. Today, Jesus tells his disciples to wash one another's feet. Wash the day's leftovers, grime away. Some plain old dirt falls into the basin. Some sins of everyday living rinse off as well. And by the power of Jesus and his disciples then and now, we can wash each other's hearts in forgiveness and love. As instruments of God's grace, we can free one another to begin anew. Then we can go out from our familiar circle of friends and share Christ's love with the world. Pray this prayer with me. Gracious God, help me love and forgive others as Jesus taught and has done for me. In his name, amen. And our prayer concern is for those struggling to forgive a hurt. Thank you for joining me on Thursday.